Hey, we're back and we're going to talk about, I don't know if you can really see them. I think you can tell what they are. Oh, I think one is falling though. But we're going to talk some more about our Wright brothers and their success. What did we talk about yesterday? What did they end up finally being able to do? They finally got an airplane to go into the air for, instead of just crashing down. The first time it was what? Yes, good, 12 seconds. And we said it's longer than we thought, probably, possibly. And then the second time was what? 59 seconds. Orville got 59 seconds in and went, or Wilbur, excuse me, and went for 852 feet. So that was really neat to think about. Which of the brothers was the first to successfully pilot an engine-powered airplane? Remember, it was Orville who was the first one to finally get it up and going. Wilbur got to be, well, it fell. Wilbur got to be first, and it didn't work. It crashed. And then Orville went and he did his for 12 seconds and it actually did fly. So he is the first brother to get it to fly. And then that second flight, the longest one was 59 seconds. So more flights, page 364. Page 364. More flights. After these successful flights, the Wright brothers did not need the sandy shores of Kitty Hawk. They didn't need to be somewhere where it's sandy and just have a lot of wind. They knew now how to get the airplanes into the air. They moved their experiments to Huffman Prairie, which was near their home. They continued to test and experiment. Now they could stay in the air for over an hour. They got the plane, so it's just flying, flying, flying for an hour. And you think of how crazy that is. I mean, to be the first one and, you know, you're getting a little bit higher and a little bit higher off the ground. The last thing you want to do is like lose and go crashing down. But they were able to get it up in the air for over an hour. In 1908, the Wright brothers were ready to show the world their achievements. They had gotten it down pat where they just felt positive and confident enough that they're like, let's just take it and let's just show people what we've been able to do. Wilbur Wright took his plane to Paris, France. People from all over the world came to see the airplane. Later, he even began to take people up for rides. Can you imagine the first time somebody stepped inside that airplane and it took off the ground and they went up into the air? And I mean, these are people that have, you know, barely are used to cars, let alone going up into the air and feeling that height and speed and all of that. Orville Wright took one of their planes to Fort Myers, Virginia. He flew his plane for the U.S. Army. Theodore Roosevelt Jr., so Teddy Roosevelt's son, Theodore Roosevelt Jr. was there to see this historic flight. Orville then joined his brother in Europe. The world was amazed with the success of the Wright brothers. They were able to meet kings, queens, presidents, and other important people from all over the world. People wanted to meet them. They had to know, who are these brothers that did this amazing thing? When the Wright brothers returned to America, they received medals from Congress and from the Smithsonian Institution. Look at the verse at the top of the page, though, because this is just what it's showing here. The Bible says in Proverbs 22:29, "Seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings." These men were diligent in what they were doing. They were hardworking and they weren't really ready to give up. And they kept doing it until they made something happen. And now they're being presented before kings and presidents and queens and high people from all over. They're given medals because of the work that they put in. When you put in the work, great things can happen. During a special holiday celebration in New York City, the Wright brothers flew their plane over the harbor. Imagine that for the first time, seeing something like that. Everyone looked with amazement as the airplane soared over the water. The brothers returned to Ohio and started the Wright Airplane Company. So they had a printing business, and then they went into making bikes, and now they're a plane company. They built airplanes, and then they even trained pilots to fly them. So they didn't just build airplanes in their airplane company. They also got pilots, and they trained them how to fly them. Only 3 years later, Wilbur Wright became sick, and soon he died from his illness. Orville Wright did not want to stay in business without his brother, so he sold the Wright Airplane Company for $1 million. Back then, that's a crazy amount of money. It's a lot of money today, but back then, even more. The Wright brothers were honored for their invention with a monument. So they had a nice stone monument built for them. It marks the location where the two young inventors made the world's first successful airplane flight at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. And now you can see what the monument looks like right there on page 366. Orville Wright did not experiment with planes anymore, but he made friends with others who loved flying as much as he did. One person he wrote letters to was Amelia Earhart, and she was a famous female pilot. Orville Wright lived long enough to see jet airplanes and hear about the first plane to fly faster than the speed of sound. An amazing adventure in flight all started because of two brothers whose mother encouraged them to find out how things are put together, and because they never gave up. Can you imagine what it was like for him to think, wow, look at these planes now, just because of what my brother and I did. Now there's this whole new way of traveling, and there's this one that goes faster than the speed of sound. This is absolutely incredible. So he gets to see these wonderful things happen just because he and his brother decided to do something, to not give up. Modern marvels. Have you ever dreamed you could fly like a bird? God created birds, bats, and insects with the power of flight. Birds flap their wings to lift off and stay in the air with ease. They gently glide on the wind currents, making lazy circles in the sky. People have always wanted to fly. Men have tried all kinds of ways to stay in the air. Even though we can't fly like these animals, men like the Wright brothers have made it possible to fly in machines. Before the Wright brothers, people flew in colorful hot air balloons. These big balloons are connected to a basket that holds passengers. A flame sends heated air up into a large balloon. The hot air causes the balloon to rise into the sky. As long as the flame is sending hot air upward, the balloon will stay afloat. Hot air balloons are mostly used as fun hobbies today. Before the Wright brothers built their airplane, gliders were the closest thing to flying. Gliders use wind power. Like birds, gliders can soar for long distances, but they do not have engines to lift off from the ground and stay in the air. The Wright brothers added an engine to the glider. It gave the plane power to move forward on its own. This invention is what changed the world. Inventors like the Wright brothers continued to improve flying machines, and today the changes are amazing. Now there are many types of planes. The United States Armed Forces use fighter jets to protect and defend our country. If you decide to go on a vacation across the sea, when all of this is over, you will probably ride in a jet airliner. These big airplanes are built to hold many passengers and heavy cargo. Helicopters are smaller aircraft which have wings or rotors on the top that rotate and lift them into the air. Seaplanes are able to take off from land and on the water, and take off from and land on the water, Some people even own private jets to take them wherever they want to go. The President of the United States travels in a large jet called Air Force One. The Wright brothers probably had no idea that their invention would help America soar into the future and even into outer space, because they just got people started going up into the air and higher and higher. But if they hadn't started, it wouldn't have gone as far as it has. And now we've got people going into space super easy. Not super easy, but they figured it out and people are doing it. because of two young boys that had curiosity that grew to be two men who were not going to give up when things didn't quite work out the way they thought. They kept going. And that's such a neat thing. So I hope you enjoyed learning about the Wright brothers as much as I enjoyed teaching it. They're just amazing. And I hope that you will learn from them never to give up, to always keep going, and to because you never know what's going to come of it. Multiple choice, page 368. Write the letter of the correct answer in the blank. What toy did Orville, I keep doing that, Orville and Wilbur's father give them? Yes, letter C, a wind-up plane. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm back to normal. Did you notice that? Yeah, I quit my Southern life. Number 2, after their printing business, what did the Wright brothers repair and design next? Yep, you got it, bicycles. What were the Wright brothers awarded from Congress and the Smithsonian Institute? Good, letter B, they got medals, letter B. And then number 4, where did the Wright brothers test their gliders and make the first successful flight? Remember, that's the thing I kept telling you to remember. Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Good. Who was the first brother to successfully fly the Wright Flyer 1? Which one? Right. Remember, Orville was the first one to successfully. Wilbur was the first one that got to do it because he won the coin toss or whatever it was. He was the first one that got to do it, but Orville was able to get it actually flying successfully. So Orville. How long was that flight that Orville took? Yes, 12 seconds. Good. List 2 things the Wright airplane company did. What are 2 things they did? Right. They not only built airplanes, but they trained pilots. You guys are so smart. Yes, I knew you would do well with that. So today, your homework, yes, I know it's Wednesday. You're not going out, so you're fine. Today, your homework is you need to build an airplane and try to see how far it can fly, and then let me know how far it can go. So try to build the best, neatest airplane. Maybe look up online, see like I tried to do different designs. So like I have my bigger one here, and then I tried to do a different kind with a smaller one. So I don't know. Nope, that one didn't work. Let's see if this one, of course they've got sticky tack on them, so they're probably not gonna fly like they should. Oh, that one was pretty good. Did you see that one? So that's what I want you to do. I want you to get and make an airplane. Oh, and I want you to tell me and show me how it flies, show me how far it goes, tell me how far it goes, and we'll see who can do the best job of getting theirs to go the farthest. So you have to measure it to see, okay? All right, I will talk to you guys later.